What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Attorney Michael Mills, Mr. Hard Work, Hard and Hustle himself, and I'm back again with another episode of I Got Time Today. And just like before, I have my homie Raj with me. Say what's up, Raj.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Michael? It feels great to be back. And this is the episode 2 of our podcast. So, yeah, super excited.
Yeah, baby steps, one day at a time, one podcast at a time.
Absolutely. Honestly, I must say that I learned so much from our last episode, and the response has been good. I went through some of the comments, and most of the questions were around personal injury, medical assistance, and insurance. Because that's what we did discuss. In Florida, the accident rate is alarming. It's heartbreaking. There is an accident in the news every single day. I was reading out, and there are over 1,000 accidents every single day across the state, and that is a huge number. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, I mean that's what keeps me employed. So yes, it's crazy, but hey,
You have been overseas, you've been to many places. We have places where there's huge amount of traffic. Like you talk about Tokyo, you talk about London, you talk about Berlin. There is huge amount of traffic, but still the accident rates are lower. So what do you think could be the reason of such high number of accidents in our state?
truly, I don't know. It's probably has something to do with distracted driving. Um, people don't pay as close of attention to the speed laws. You have driving under the influence going on. There's just a whole plethora of different reasons that we have accidents here. I'm not sure what they do differently in places like Japan or Berlin. It's probably a different culture as well, because here a lot of us like to go fast, and not everyone is paying attention like they should be.
Do you think distracted driving or poor infrastructure is adding a lot to that, or is the infrastructure okay and good and everyone's paying attention to it?
I mean, I would definitely put it more so on distracted driving as opposed to infrastructure. Yeah, our infrastructure could be a little better, um, but I think the biggest reasons that I've seen, just in my experience, is that people are usually just driving and not paying attention when they should be, or driving under the influence. But it's primarily not paying attention and not focusing in on what they ought to be, which is the situation in front of you.
So we talk about insurance, like as we just said that the LA fires, we had a huge overhaul in insurance laws. So is that something, do you think that when these people are driving, like I'm talking about distracted drivers, so when these people are driving or they're under the influence and they're driving, is this thought process that, yeah, I have got insurance and I need not care, is that one of the reasons why people are driving so unattentively?
Um, I think for the most part, um, a lot of times, yes, they don't really think about it. They just think that they have insurance when they do. A lot of times they don't even have insurance, which is a whole nother story. But for the most part, yeah, folks will think that they have all the coverage that they need so that they are covered if they're involved in an accident, and will go on about their business and do whatever it is that they're doing, driving distracted and or driving under the influence, and that can lead to problems, especially here in Florida where we're a no fault state, which means that it doesn't matter who's at fault for the accident. Your insurance is who's going to pay for your medical bills, but it also means that bodily injury coverage isn't mandatory here in the state of Florida either. And that can leave people in a bad position if the person that hits them doesn't have bodily injury coverage. Those are some of the worst cases. I've had so many cases where I had to tell my client, "Hey, I know you are messed up. I know you got really injured in the accident, but the person that hit you doesn't have any coverage on his policy, or he only has, or she only has the minimum amount of coverage, which is $10,000." And usually they don't take that information very well. And what's interesting though is that when I look at their policy, they oftentimes either don't have bodily injury coverage or also have the minimum amount of bodily injury coverage, which is 10,000. So you have to keep all of those things in mind when you're out there driving, when you're getting a car, when you're getting cars for your kids. What type of coverage are you going to have on your vehicle? Are you going to have uninsured motorist coverage? That's a whole nother situation that is so important when you're thinking about being fully covered when you're driving on these mean Florida streets.
So, thank you so much for the answer, Michael. I just want to bring to your attention one thing, and I want you to tell us because you are the right person to answer this question. You have worked as an insurance defense attorney for a long time, and now for a very longer time, you have worked as a personal injury attorney. What kind of an insurance do you recommend that a person should get? Oh, what so please tell us.
Yeah, that's something that I like to share with every one of my clients. Whenever I meet with them, I try to go through their policy and kind of tell them what coverage is going to be available to them for the accident. And part of that is looking at their declaration of coverage page from their insurance company, and that will literally tell me what type of coverage you have. A lot of times, like I said before, they only have the minimum coverage. Here in Florida, there's PIP, personal injury protection coverage. There's collision coverage or comprehensive coverage, bodily injury, uninsured motorist coverage, and then rental car reimbursement coverage. You want to have all of those, but if you can't afford to have all of them, what I would definitely recommend is that you have bodily injury coverage and uninsured motorist coverage. I say bodily injury coverage because you can't have uninsured motorist coverage without having bodily injury coverage. If you can only afford $10,000 worth of bodily injury coverage and uninsured motorist coverage, get that. Obviously, I would prefer or recommend that you get the the highest amount that you can afford, whether it be 10, 25, 50, 100, 250, whatever the case may be. And then if you have multiple vehicles, then you're going to want to get that uninsured motorist coverage stacked. There's two types of uninsured motorist coverage. There's stacked and non-stacked. Non-stacked is typically for folks that only have one vehicle, because
Okay.
if you have one vehicle, then there's no other policies to stack that coverage on. However, I have a client that she has 1020 policy, so 10,000 in bodily injury and $10,000 in UM, but they have four vehicles on their policy, and so she got a stack. So that 10,000 now is timed by each vehicle on the policy that also has uninsured motorist coverage. So now she has $40,000 in UM coverage and $80,000 per accident. And it's quite fortunate. This was her second accident that she had been in. The first time around, she did not have uninsured motorist coverage, and I begged and pleaded with her to make sure that she did, and make sure that she got it, and she listened and got that coverage. Accidents aren't planned, but it happened, and now she has that coverage to fall back on. And the person that hit her did not have any bodily injury coverage.
And you did what you do best, giving people the right advice. So thank you, Attorney Michael Mills. So coming back to personal injury, what kind of personal injury cases does have the worst long-term consequences?
what type of personal injury cases has worse long? I mean, it kind of depends. Car accident. It really depends on the situation. You think that it has to be a bad accident, but it really doesn't. It could be a car accident, and it could just the way the accident happened, it could have caused substantial damage. It could be a truck accident. I've seen trucking accidents that cause a huge amount of damage, and some trucking accidents that didn't cause very much damage at all. Slip and falls. There's been times where people slip in on a wet floor or whatever the case is, and severely injure themselves, requiring them to have multiple surgeries. And there are also those accidents or those slip and falls where it's just like a minor strain or sprain of an ankle or whatever the case may be. So these are all situations that could be either very bad and cause a long term permanent injury to that person, causing them to have to change their whole way of life, or it could be something that's minimal, and they're able to get over it relatively quickly. In either case, though, we're going to be able to help that person and make sure that we maximize their recovery for whatever injury they suffered from.
What is your take on hit and run cases? Like, you hit someone, you leave them bleeding on the road and vanish like nothing ever happened. You know, that's just not illegal. It's kind of immoral and inhuman. Have you worked on a case like that?
Well, unfortunately, I have, and that's even one more reason I didn't mention before, but that's even one more reason why it's so important to have uninsured motorist coverage. Um, uh, when somebody hits you, if they either don't have the coverage or don't have enough coverage, or if they take off, they hit you and they run, and you are unable to either get their tag or their identity because for whatever reason your car was disabled, you couldn't see it, whatever reason,
You were in shock.
you were in shot. Yeah, that's a good point too. If you have uninsured motorist coverage, your uninsured motorist coverage stands in the shoes of the person that hit you and ran. So that's another reason why it's so important and why you should get as much as you possibly can afford. Uninsured motorist coverage also helps if if you're a pedestrian and you're walking or you're running or you're on a bicycle. Like I'm always on my bike, and that's one of the things I fear for because you know people can be assholes a lot of times, and they see us riding and they want to scare us. They get a little close, not knowing that what might be a joke to them is literally life threatening to us because they're in a car and we're on a bicycle. And folks just do silly things that could really cause severe injury or even death to people that either are running, cycling, skateboarding, whatever the case may be. Car against man, the car's going to win every time.
Yeah, that's a very important thing. Like, again, I think about the cyclists, and you're on a bicycle, you're just doing something or the other, and yeah, most of the times in hit and run cases, I'm sure the person who has been impacted would not be going ahead and looking at the number because you're like, what happened? Like, okay, yeah, that's a total state of shock. Michael, you just talked about jokes, and when you say jokes, something recently happened. An incident happened with my neighbor Amanda. She was grocery shopping, and she slipped and fell down on a wet floor. There was no sign. And just to give you a background about her, she is a single mom of a 4-year-old. She's hurt her ankle, can't move, can't get out of bed. She's unable to go to her office, and her medical bills are adding up, and she does not know who to call for claiming insurance and legal help.
Yeah, and I mean, it can get really bad, especially if the person doesn't have health insurance. Because with slip and falls, unlike with car accidents, especially here in Florida, with a car accident, you have personal injury protection coverage that's is going to at least cover you for any medical treatment that you may need up to $10,000. With a slip and fall, sometimes they'll have a $5,000 med pay coverage, but most often they don't. And if you've been injured due to a slip and fall, or you hurt your ankle, you busted your knee, you hurt your back, um, oftentimes, and if you don't have health insurance, unless you know who to turn to, or unless you get an attorney, typically, you're going to be in a world of hurt, and there's really no one that's going to try to take care of you. You'd have to go to ER, and those bills definitely will pile up very, very quickly. And that's one of the reasons that I built or created the Injury Assistance Network. I wanted to make it easy for people that are in those types of situations, whether it be a slip and fall or a car accident or whatever the case. They've been injured at no fault of their own. I wanted to give them a place to go to that they can find the treatment and the help that they need, whether it be attorneys or medical providers or even service providers. If they have been out of work and the bills start piling up, or they have to pay rent, and they have a case, but they haven't been able to work because of their injury. We even have service providers such as funding companies that are on the network. Yeah. So I try to take all of those things into consideration to get those providers that the people that's been injured and been have personal injuries in on the network, so that we can make it a one-stop shop.
I know that this really, is something that is very close to your heart, and this is something that is of actual value and to all of us, and that's all I can say. Like, let me just tell you that, Michael, that getting injured is one thing, but what comes after that, it's total chaos. I got hurt and I had no idea what to do. I'm lying there in pain, and I have to Google a diagnostic center, then find an orthopedic, then figure out if I need a chiropractor, then chase down an attorney. And yeah, you don't know whether you get the right attorney or not. And I'm doing all of this while I should be resting, healing, and breathing. It's exhausting physically, mentally. And in that moment, I don't need 10 numbers. I need one solution. I need one phone number, or I need one person, or I need one service where I just go find out, and yeah, I'm done because I need to go back to resting.
Yeah, and that's what we try to take into consideration with the Injury Assistance Network. If you need an attorney, bam, you go to that one site, you can find yourself an attorney, you can find yourself a chiropractor. If you need a diagnostics to get an MRI, you can find that on there as well. And the best thing about it is that we have it to where you can sort either or filter either by the location. You can look and see what type of languages the provider speaks, what type of services that they offer, and they get to put all of that information on there, including their Google reviews. So you get to even see what other people have said about their services.
Well said, Michael. You built this amazing platform to help personal injury victims, and that's great. But let's be honest, no one plans for accidents. We all know people think, I've got insurance, I'll just Google the rest. So why should someone actually register with Injury Assistance Network?
That's a good point, Raj. Why should someone actually register with Injury Assistance Network? And by registering, we just mean just signing up so it can make your process of finding that information so much easier. But part of the thing is that when you go on Google, it's a crapshoot. Even for me as an attorney, when I'd be looking for medical or service providers outside of the Central Florida area, if I have a client that's in South Florida or in North Florida, before I had Injury Assistance Network, I didn't know who to turn to. I would just have to get on Google and do a search for a chiropractor. I didn't know whether or not they were personal injury chiro, or they were just doing wellness. I didn't know anything about their clinic, whether it was clean, whether they took good care of the clients, whether they knew how uh, handling a personal injury case operated. None of those things I knew, and so that's the same thing for the general public as well. And so by just going to Injury Assistance Network instead of just doing a general Google search, you get all the benefits of Google, but just on a more narrowed basis, where all of the providers that you're searching are all going to be in the personal injury field. They've been vetted, and you can be rest assured that they know how to handle a personal injury case. They know how to work with attorneys. Because believe it or not, some providers, medical providers or otherwise, either may not like dealing with attorneys, they may not know the process, they may expect things up front, when a lot of times in PI cases, personal injury cases, you don't get compensated, especially after the PIP benefits are exhausted, until after the case. We don't want to be dealing with providers that are going to be nagging our clients about payment when the case is still pending. So even things like that, it's so important to make sure that you're dealing with a provider that understands how a personal injury case works. And with Injury Assistance Network, you never have to worry about that being the case, not being the case.
Thank you so very much for the answer, Michael. I'll tell you about one personal issue that I face on a regular basis. You go on Google, you search for something, you get 100 different results, and maybe the one thing that you are actually looking for, it's kind of finding the needle in a haystack. So yeah, if Injury Assistance Network is doing this one thing, that I'm looking for personal injury, medical providers, I'm looking for, let's say, chiropractors, I'm looking for a personal injury attorney, and if I'm able to get that, that's gold for me, because yeah, I'm getting what I need. I don't need anything else, and that too in a moment when I'm going through all of this. I don't need to do so much. So yeah, thank you so very much, Michael, for Injury Assistance Network.
And let me add this. I mean, you do a Google search, what you're going to find on Google, especially the first page, are those providers, those attorneys that really have spent money to be on the first page, right? Or they're ones with the big money. They have multiple offices, and that's fine. Nothing against those folks. I've been there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be getting the quality of care, the customer service that you're looking for. You can rest assured that the searches that you do on Injury Assistance Network, those providers, those attorneys are the ones that are locked in with their clients. The customer service is going to be top notch.
So, Michael, building a platform like Ian, must have been really tough. What was the biggest roadblock that you faced?
The one of the biggest roadblocks, believe it or not, is just letting the providers and the attorneys that are on the site or are interested in getting on the site, letting them know and ensuring them that Injury Assistance Network isn't just a platform for me, right? It's not just my platform. I wanted to create that for it to be a resource to everyone, to other attorneys, to other medical providers, so that other attorneys can find quality vetted medical providers in Jacksonville or South Florida or wherever they need medical providers to treat their clients. I am not in the position. I've made it so that I'm not a part of whether a client goes to a specific attorney. If they come on the site looking for an attorney, It's going to be based on what they like about your profile. You are the one that creates your profile, not me or not anyone from Injury Assistance Network. We make it easy for you to do that, but I wanted to be sure and I wanted to let the other attorneys and the providers know that I'm not there cherry picking who gets what case. It's solely based on either the user that's going on and searching for a medical provider or an attorney themselves, or the attorney if they're going on the site looking for a provider to care for their client.
That's awesome, Michael. This is really one way of using the platform. Yeah, so attorneys can find good medical providers in a certain area. They can come to I.A.N. Medical providers looking for good attorneys in different zones, different areas, different cities of the state. They can find great medical providers and so on and so forth. So I think that's a great value proposition. But when you launched, you also told me to check out the website. So I did go on the website, and I find that for me, let's say I'm the end user, it is absolutely free. So I'm being offered a list of doctors who are kind of curated in a certain list, being able to find good personal injury attorneys, financial support as well. Like some funding companies are also listed there, and then there are a bunch of other services that are mentioned. I'm getting all of this for free. There is no charge that I have to pay.
And we're still growing.
Yeah. So how are you making money, boss?
Well, the purpose behind Injury Assistance Network is to serve the community, serve the personal injury community. Uh, and obviously, there has to be some compensation in order for this site to be effective and to continue to run, and for me to be compensated for my hard work. I mean, there's no getting around that.
And the hustle.
How and the hard work, hard and hustle, absolutely.
Yeah.
But what we do is what we've done is set it up so that those providers who want to be a part of the network, who wants to benefit from the marketing that we do for the network, things like this podcast, things like when I'm going on television to speak about the things that I'm doing, whether it be my law firm or the Injury Assistance Network. There's a benefit that comes along with that. The social media ads and posts that we put out. We have thousands of followers on social media, and there's a benefit for having that and for all of the work that we put in Injury Assistance Network. This isn't something that is here today and gone tomorrow. Injury Assistance Network has been around since 2021. We were actually around since before that, but our really official launch was in 2021 when we came out with the first real version that I was really super proud of the site, and we've just been getting better ever since. So a lot of the competitors that were around when we first came on the scene, they're no longer here. We're still here. That should tell you something.
I must tell everyone listening to this that I actually tried finding competitors for the kind of service you're doing. I could barely find a service like that of yours in the state of Florida. There are few, maybe on the West Coast, but it's really hard to find. So I must tell you one thing that I would never like once I have personal injury, or I know someone who has a personal injury and I know of Ian, I'm not going anywhere because I'll just go ahead and injuryassistancenetwork.com, find what I need, and I'll get in touch with them. And yeah, you talk about these medical providers or attorneys or funding companies paying them, like they pay Injury Assistance Network a platform fee and like kind of a subscription. Is the subscription way too expensive, or how exactly is it? Like maybe some provider who is listening to our podcast might want to be a part of it. So can you tell us about that?
we've done our best to keep it super affordable for the providers. Obviously, this is not a lead generation platform. We want you to be able to get clients and patients from the platform, and that's the whole goal. But we're not set up to be a lead generation platform. Our purpose is to spread the word about the network and benefit those providers that get on the network. So, that being said, we try to make it super affordable for any provider that wants to be on the network. It starts at $99 a month for
Only?
that's it, $99 a month. If you have one
Wow.
office, and you can cancel at any time, you join anytime. If you have two offices, then it's $149 a month, and both your offices will be on the platform. Both offices would be searchable by their zip code, by their address, whatever the case may be. And then if you have
Hmm.
three offices or more, you can have nine, you can have 10, 15, whatever the case is, the max amount that you spend for your offices on the network is $199 a month. And so, in doing so, we try to make it as competitive as possible and as affordable as possible because we still have to expend money to make sure that we are marketing the site, getting information out there to end users, being your potential clients or your potential patients, but at the same time make it affordable so that you don't expect that, oh, you pay this amount and you're going to get these many clients or these many patients every month. That's just not how it works. We work primarily organically to just try to get the information out there, get the site out there, and get your information if you're on the site there. And there's ways that you can even boost your profile on the site itself so that you get even more eyes or impressions, as they say in the marketing world, on your practice.
So what exactly, you just used the word boost. So what exactly is this? Is this some feature or something on your website? What
Yeah,
exactly is it?
it's a new feature that we came up with to just make it easier and make give more impressions to those providers who wants to boost their clinic or their facility on the network. And it's
Hmm.
really simple. You can boost your profile for 7 days or a month. If you want to boost it 7 days, it's $30. If you want to boost it for a whole month, it's $90 per office. So we make it super super easy to do that. There's only two providers in a specific zip code that can boost at the same time, and that way we kind of limit how many
Wow.
boosts can be done at the same time in the same location, so that you are definitely getting more bang for your buck that way as well.
So and so let's say I pay you $30 for a week or $90 for a month, and I can boost in my location. So is there any limit on zip code or cities or what have you?
Yes, you can boost in up to three different zip codes for each office that you're boosting. And then if you want to boost more than that, then obviously you're going to have to pay another 30. So if you're going to boost four, then you might as well boost for six because you're going to include three zip codes for every $30 that you boost.
Wow, that is really fantastic. So you have a business plan as well. So that means you have the vision to take this thing, for like,
Nationwide.
is this a part of your retirement plan, Michael? Tell me that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We definitely are looking at this thing long term. We wanna take it nationwide, like I've said before, to where we can
Wow.
help other individuals in other states, other providers, get their information out there. A lot of times, the smaller providers don't have the cash flow necessary to market their clinics or their medical facilities. That does not mean that they don't do really good work. That doesn't mean that they don't know what they're doing. Um, like for me, and we have the big dogs here. I won't mention their names, but obviously they're one of the largest law firms in the nation. They're right here. And I will go toe to toe any day with the type of quality and customer service that I provide to my client against what the type of customer care and quality that they provide. They have way more money, but like I say all the time, we give small firm or boutique firm personal care and customer care with big firm results, and that's what a lot of other law firms and medical facilities do as well. And there's no need for them not to be mentioned or not to be looked at, especially if we know that they're going to do that work, do that hard work, hard and hustle, especially for their clients and patients.
I want to talk about a use case. Let's say I'm a new physiotherapist starting fresh. I got done with my clinic. The expenses of setting up an office is high, you know that. I have a one-page website, not much information. For me, how exactly is Ian of any use? Like, how exactly does Ian help me? And how can I take things forward from there?
Look, I've been there. I've had my practice now going on 11 years or over 11 years. But, I remember when I had just a basic website. There was no injury assistance network back then, but the way that we can help is that the profile that you set up on our network, that can then be the face of your website, right? And
Right.
because you get to put all of your information. You can upload videos as well, and it makes it super easy if you have videos about your services, videos, testimonials from your patients or whatever the case may be. You can upload that information onto your profile so that can be your website. And additionally, when you get to a point to where you're ready to make a more enhanced, a more vivid website for your practice, we can help there too, because we have the folks on staff that help build the injury assistance network, the platform that you're using right now. Those same people will be able to help you build your own website. So there you have it.
So I'll get someone who I can trust and get the work done as well.
Yeah,
Wow, fantastic.
you actually will see their work and be interacting with their work, so you know the type of work that you can expect
The
from
results are going to
yes,
be stellar.
absolutely.
Now, Michael, I have one question here. I'm gonna be a little critical here, and this is how people do think that, hey, I I'm paying you a certain fee, the $99 a month, and I'm getting my website listed on a platform like Injury Assistance Network. How exactly are you different from, let's say, a Craigslist or Yellow Pages? Because they are going to do the same. So, why should I specifically register my business with one more subscription that is Injury Assistance Network?
Well, that's a really easy answer, I'd say, because what our goal is to be the number one go to for when somebody's been injured, whether it be in an accident, whether it be a slip and fall. Typically, when someone gets in a car accident or a slip and fall or injured at no fault of their own, they're not thinking about going to Craigslist. They're not thinking about the yellow pages. They want to go. They're more than likely are going to go to the internet, typically to Google, and on Google, you're going to be competing with folks that do what you do. You're going to be competing with folks that don't do what you do, folks that do it worse, might have more money so that they're higher up. They're paying ads, spending those ads dollars so that you're on page number 47. Does that mean that you're not doing good work? Absolutely not. But when they go to the network, when they go to I.A.N, they're going to be a certified amount of folks that are well versed in personal injury, for the specialty that you're looking for, whether it be chiropractic, whether it be imaging, orthopedic, neurologists, neurosurgeons, whatever the case is, you can find them on the network and know that you're getting good quality service. And likewise, um, the types of ads that we run, we get to we in running our ads, we're actually running ads for you, and you don't pay extra for that. So it's
Really?
much of a it's kind of like a 2 for 1.
Wow. So you run ads for providers and the providers don't have to pay, right?
Well, we're running ads for the network, and sometimes we'll include some of the providers that are on the network. Right now, we're not charging, but that's not to say that in the future there might not be a premium for that.
Okay, wow. But still, yeah, stock up till the offer lasts. So yeah, simple.
Absolutely, getting while the getting's good.
Great. Thank you so much. Michael, I'm really sorry I moved a bit from the topic because I was really, like it got me so excited about the providers and the benefits they could have from the network. So, but yeah, coming back to the topic that we were discussing about personal injury and victims, because ultimately the biggest benefactor in this are going to be the personal injury victims for whom platform is absolutely free. Now, my next question is, what if I've already started treatment somewhere else, but I'm overwhelmed? Can I still find help on Ian?
Oh, absolutely. That's like I said. That's what we're here for. Whether you're with another attorney, whether you have a provider, and that either Cairo or Neuro or whatever the case is was farther away from your address than you thought, and it's becoming more of a hassle to drive to those weekly visits as the case moves along, or if you're just unsatisfied for whatever reason, we have providers on the network, we have attorneys on the network that you can utilize. You, of course, would have to let them know about your previous treatment or the attorney that you were dealing with before. But yeah, they're here to help. They know what they're doing, and we make it super easy for you to contact them. You can actually contact them right from the platform. You can send an email. They'll get the email and respond to you via email, or if you put your phone number in there, they'll give you a call. So we try to make it as seamless as possible for you to be in contact with them. And I don't have anything to do with that. The I'm not the one that's going to play the go between. You speak with the chiro, the doctor, the attorney directly, and they speak with you directly.
So it's kind of a self-service platform where they can directly get in touch with the people they want. So, Michael, here's one more thought. So now I'm registered in injuryassistancenetwork.com. You already have mentioned that it's not a lead generation platform, and but still, like let's say if someone has inquired for my services, how do I get notified? Or is there a system that I like, okay, someone called me, and since I'm paying a fee, I still would expect something to see, like, okay, what was there? How many people contacted me? How many people filled out the form to reach out to me? Where do I get notified, and how does it work? Please tell me about it.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Raj, because that was one of the improvements that we made to the site. I like to listen to the providers. I like to listen to my clients and my customers. And one of the things in the past that they would always ask, and I was unable to tell them, was, well, how do I know that this is actually working? How do I know that people are actually contacting me through Injury Assistance Network? And so we went back to the drawing board with that. And we have now created a provider dashboard. So, and what that means is that you as the provider, well, you get to log in, you have your own password, username, all of that. You get to log in and see your actual analytics. You get to see how many people have gone to your profile. You get to see how many calls have come to you from Injury Assistance Network, how many appointments, how many people have actually searched up your address from the platform. Because yes, it can do that too. So we, like I said, I took that so serious because it's something that anyone would want to know. If they're investing their money, even though it's very, very affordable, if they're investing their money, obviously they're going to want to get something, some proof that there is an ROI on the other side of this investment. And so I held my team's feet to the fire for months until we can get it to a point where the provider would be able to see all of that analytics, all of those analytics that helps them to make a determination as to whether this is a beneficial platform for them or not. And I think it most definitely will be after being able to see, how many calls you've gotten, how many visits, whether if they call you and you either don't get them on as a client or a patient, that's for us. We're doing what we're supposed to do because we're bringing that information to you. We're promoting the site, and we're getting people to call you. The rest is up to you.
Wow, that is a really, intuitive way of getting things done on the platform. So I'm getting notified about the phone calls. I'm getting notified about the forms that have been filled. Yeah, I think there's nothing else that I would need. So complete transparency. Thank you so much. Just like last time, if you remember in episode one, we had a few people who had reached out to us when we announced the podcast. We have also got some questions this week as well. And I this is the place, or this is the section where I really am super excited because uh, when you do something and if people are reaching out to you, that is a huge validation that yeah, you're doing the right thing. So this week we have few questions from people across the state. So this first up, this one's from Sam in Orlando, and he writes, I'm new to Orlando and don't know anyone here. I had a slip and fall in a parking lot. It hurts more than I expected. What should I do next?
If you had a slip and fall in the parking lot, hopefully you notified the parking lot owner, whether it be that store or that gas station, wherever it was that you tripped and fall or tripped and fell. I hope that you notified them that incident did occur and that you got an incident report for that because if you did not, it's kind of hard to go back and get that done, especially if it's been days, weeks, or months since the incident occurred. So that's since we're talking about that, let me just go through some of the things that you need to do after a slip and fall because it is a little different with slip and falls. If you slip and fall in a store or wherever the case may be, you want to alert the store owner, the property owner, that the incident occurred. If you don't, if you just get up and walk out from embarrassment and then realize later that you injured yourself, but you didn't put them on notice, it's kind of hard to go back, right? If you let them know, you get an incident report, then you have some documentation that you were actually in that store at that time and that incident happened. You have that documentation and they have the documentation so that when you go to an attorney or when you go to a doctor and there's bills, they can say, hey, I didn't even know, or I don't know that they were in the spot or in the store. Secondly, when the attorney comes on, you would want to contact an attorney as soon as possible so that they can send out a preservation letter. So that I'm saying preservation letter. It's called a spoliation letter, but folks don't know, may not understand that. So it's basically a letter that the attorney will send out to the provider, to the store to let them know to save any evidence, any documentation, any video, any photos that they may have regarding that incident, so that we can have it if the case needs to go to trial.
I hope, Sam, this answers your question. Yes, if you need more help, you definitely can reach out to Michael's office. The phone number.
321-234-2900.
Thank you so much. Question is from Melinda. She says, I was in a pedestrian accident. I filed a case, but
I
I'm
had an
losing
ex-girlfriend named
confidence.
Melinda back in the day, but that's besides
Pardon?
the point. I had an ex-girlfriend named Melinda, but that's besides the point. Carry on. I'm sorry.
Okay. The next question is from someone who I know if Michael hears the name, he's going to have a smile on his face, or maybe not, due to him being married to someone else right now. So, yes, the next question is from Melinda. She says, I was in a pedestrian accident. I filed a case, but I'm losing confidence in my current attorney. I feel like no one's really communicating with me. What should I do?
Um, Look, that's something that we hear quite often. Actually, typically when clients come to us when they've already had an attorney, the reason that they're coming to us is because there's a lack of communication with their current attorney. We do get busy. There's things that happens that could affect our communication. And then sometimes, if the accident or you just signed up with or retained the attorney yesterday and you're already calling today for an update, obviously there's not a whole lot to update. But if there's been some time that's gone on and you've made multiple attempts to get a hold of your attorney so you can find out what's going on with your case, and those attempts have been unsuccessful, then yeah, you may need to find a different attorney. And the Injury Assistance Network, you can find that attorney, and that will pay you the attention that you need and deserve. And you can call me
Yeah,
too.
I was coming to that, Michael. So, how does your firm, Injury Assistance Law Firm, like today we've been talking a lot about Injury Assistance Network, but so coming back to this one thing. So, how does your firm, Injury Assistance Law Firm, handle these kind of cases, like where do your clients feel you're not really communicating, or is there a system in place? What do you do?
Okay, well, yeah, for my law firm, Injury Assistance Law Firm, we have systems in place to make sure that we communicate and we make the communication process with our clients super easy. We have a platform called Case Status, which will automatically give them the status of their case. They can communicate with us through that platform via text. They can upload the pictures from the accident. They can upload medical records. And when the best thing about it is that when they do it through Case Status, myself, I have access to it. My staff has access to it, and it just makes it much easier for us to stay on top of it. Either either my staff or I can text them, and it shows up on their phone just like a text. They have their own portal, so it makes it super easy, super seamless, um, and it's better than just texting me personally and directly. While all of my clients get my business card with my personal cell phone on there. A lot of times if you text me directly and I'm in my car or I'm at home or I'm in a meeting or whatever the case is, I'm the only one that's getting that text. And if I don't have time to review that text or respond to that text in that moment, you're not going to hear from anyone. However, if you use Case Status and you send that same text, I get to see it, and if I'm busy, my staff gets to see it, and they can respond to you right then and there, as opposed to you having to wait for me to get done with whatever it is I'm working on to then send you a text. And then if I'm out of the office, I might not have your file available for me to review, especially if you're asking for a status. My staff can provide that information for you because they're here.
Case status. You owe Michael Mills sponsorship money.
They really do, right?
Yeah, you mentioned them like three times.
Because we
So,
have it and we use it and it works. So, hey,
wow. So, yeah, shout out to case status.
there we go.
So, coming back to the third question, this one's from Rose. She wrote, loved your first show. Thank you so much, Rose. Super informative, and I've learned so much already. Now, she has a quick question though. What should someone do if they are involved in an Uber accident?
Well, it kind of depends. If they're involved in an Uber accident, so that could be two ways, right? They could either be a passenger in an Uber car that got hit by somebody else, or they could be a passenger in an Uber car and the Uber driver was negligent. Um, Really, you do the same things that you do with any other accident. You're going to want to get in contact with an attorney. You're going to want to seek medical treatment. With Uber cases in which the Uber driver is at fault, there's a higher policy limit available to the parties injured as a result of that Uber driver's negligence. That's $1 million. So you see a lot of people that are targeting folks that's been involved in Uber vehicle accidents, and by a lot of people I mean other personal injury attorneys, and that's because Uber drivers share a huge responsibility for the occupants of their vehicles. We expect to be transported safely from place to place. We expect them to not be on their phone. We expect them to not be driving under the influence. And if for whatever reason they are driving distracted or driving under the influence and cause you to get in an accident or gets involved in an accident with someone else, then you want there to be ample coverage to take care of those injuries. And so that's one of the reasons they have that those higher policy limits.
Thank you so much, Michael, for the answer. Now, to the people listening to us, we did receive a few DMs that were too personal to or sensitive to read here, but Michael's team is gonna get back to you people in DMs or give you a call back if you've left your phone number. So yeah, to the audience, if you're listening and you have a question, you can DM us. And if it's something sensitive, need not worry, your privacy is respected and we'll do our best to guide you.
Absolutely.
Before we close for the day, what's your final message to the audience, Michael?
Final message to the audience. Well, I know I spoke a lot about Injury Assistance Network. One of the reasons I did that is because I'm super proud of it. We put a lot of hard work, and hustle into building this platform for you, the user, for you, the providers, and for the attorneys. And I want folks to be able to use it. I want folks to be able to find what they're looking for on the platform. And we have an open platform. There's so many areas that we want to fill, both geographically and specialty wise as well. So there's still a lot of room left, and at these prices for the service and the exposure that you're going to get, I don't think there's a better platform out there for both the users and for providers. So go ahead, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Injury assistance law firm as well. We're a personal injury firm, so I'm not just talking about it. I do this every day, right? So if by any chance you have any questions for me, you've been injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or whatever the case may be, give us a call. If you want us to look over your insurance policies because you have questions about the coverage and what type of coverage you should have, give us a call. I'll be glad to go over that with you. And remember, Injury Assistance Law Firm, we put our hard work, heart, and hustle to work for you. And Injury Assistance Network, the only network you need when you've been involved in an accident. Alright, so I'll see you guys on the next episode of I Got Time Today. This is Michael Mills, attorney Michael Mills, Mr. Hard Work, Heart, and Hustle, out.